Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So today, I just figured I would review yet another animated kung fu movie because I feel like I don't review anime enough. Like I was saying in my previous video, even though I did talk about anime quite a few times, Japanese animation, quite often before, it's just rather sporadic is what I'm saying. And of course, I like kung fu anyway. Yeah. I just had to vomit earlier. Yeah, I just had some Taco Bell, so how's that? Anyway, speaking of puke, it's just something tasting bad. So I'll be reviewing Street Fighter Alpha, the movie. Might as well did review the others anyway. So what the hell? What's going on here? Mr. Monkey, you're hiding there. Go and get. Really, go and get. Oh boy, this one isn't a prequel nor a sequel to Street Fighter 2. This is supposed to be kind of its own thing in some extent, I guess. But I want to review it anyway, so here we go. Of course, as always, let's talk about it, shall we? So, of course, we're gonna get quite a bit of fighting throughout the entire thing. Of course, because that's kind of the point in some ways, which is fine. But again, we get to see that the main character is again, it's Ryu. Yeah, the homeless kung fu guy. So he's the main character because
I don't know.
yeah, this one's pretty action packed in its own little way, and that's cool. That's fine. Again, that's expected. The fight scenes are well animated. That's for sure. I can definitely say that about the movie. That's probably the best thing I say about it. It's well animated. But in this film, we see Sakura, which is supposed to be this martial arts schoolgirl or something. But she does take a decent portion of the film, and yes, it's simply due to the fact that she's a fanboy, or I should say fangirl, I guess, of Ryu. She's a fangirl. Oh yeah, definitely. And yeah, definitely plays a part of the film, even though it doesn't really go anywhere. Not really. It was just there. So if someone's a fanboy or a fangirl of something, you expect the person they practically rush up the ground on will acknowledge them and just do something more of it, I suppose. So that as with the film, it kind of feels that it was just left there in some ways because they don't do a whole lot really. I mean, it's not like it's the major part of the movie, sure, but it's just like a thing that lingers there for a little while because I don't know the plot said so, I suppose. Anyway, it's mostly centering on the fact that Ryu is almost contemplating the death of his sensei and experiencing the trouble with his dark energy, this evil energy, which the sensei's brother pretty much I guess has something to do with that in some ways. While in the city, Ryu pretty much fights off some agents working for this organization, of course, while gaining the attention for this Interpol agent. And the Interpol agent is of course, Chung Li, obviously. So, yeah, she's a part of this, of course. But anyway, so, yeah, and then in Japan, Ryu is confronted by this mysterious fortune teller named Rose, whom, by the way, is supposed to be the good bit of embodying that just left his body, I suppose, like the good energy or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of weird like that, but whatever. Who questions Ryu about? Yeah, this whole bit with the dark energy and all that. So that comes into the story, of course. Damn it, Mr. Monkey, what are you doing outside? You're not doing anything, bum. I guess you're right. You're bum. Okay, whatever. Anyway, of course, as you might expect, one of the other characters that is pretty popular in this video game series, it's obviously none other than the character named Kin. Yeah, he's a part of this story as well. So, yeah, there's like this whole bit with this kid in the film as well. So, yeah, we should focus on that for a little bit here and there. So, yeah, one of my major grabs against this movie is that there's quite a few things going on. So, nothing really feels polished because of that. So, I kind of feel like maybe they could have worked it better in the story, and it just seemed like there's quite a bit going on, really, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, this character is doing a thing in the film, of course, for like real brief. And then, of course, also these two characters are doing a thing because they're trying to have some screen time, I suppose. And oh yeah, then this character, he's also doing a thing because he's really macho or whatever. And then also this character is also a thing from the other Street Fighter movies. Oh yeah. So like they throw a bunch of random characters in here that you're familiar with from the video games themselves. So again, this feels like crammed in with a bunch of characters like the other animated movie I've mentioned before. Each stuff is the same thing. Then of course we have Chung Li, like we were saying a moment ago. She's doing some kind of investigation thing. Because she's supposed to be like an Interpol agent already. So I'm not exactly clear on that really because like if you're a doctor or a nurse, of course these kinds of job positions we have like it would vary depending on what you're doing line of field I guess. You're not just a doctor, you could be a surgeon, you could be this or that. There's like a bunch of other things you can do in the medical field. Same thing with the government. There's like a bunch of stuff, bunch of job positions in the government. So she's supposed to be like an investigator or something. So would that mean she'd be more in line with the cops or whatever? Because that's kind of the thing. She can't be a cop and a portal agent at the exact same time. That's contradictory. Of course, like before, I'm reviewing the English dubbed version of this film. Just thought I'd let you know, folks. But as far as I'm concerned, Street Fighter Alpha, the animation, is a film. It's almost mediocre. It was almost mediocre, which is kind of sad because, like I was saying a moment ago, the animation is actually quite good. I really like the animation here. It's really nice. And also, the character designs are really good. The colors are really nice. So on a visual surface, yeah, it's nice to look at. It's very nice to look at. I like the colors. I like what was the character designs and whatnot. The animation is very fluent. So you can obviously tell there's quite a bit. Ultimately, yes, this film does look very professionally made, which I will praise the film for. But beyond that, beyond the surface level, it's just not very good. The entire story as a whole just lacks the interest. So there's full of confusing situations, and there's some moments that may seem contradictory for whatever reason, I guess. Just because. But so yeah, it's not just the characters that's supposed to stand out. Okay, I don't mind if the characters stand out. Okay, it's not just the characters that have to stand out. Okay, I know, of course, when it comes to these movies, the most important thing for a lot of people is that the characters really stand out. But that's only because people are familiar with them because of the games. But as for the story itself, it doesn't really stand out really. The story itself it seems awfully flat as a whole. And speaking of Chun-Li, again, I feel like she doesn't really amount to much in the grand scheme of the story. It just seems like she was just there. I mean, she has a bit more involvement in the plot than compared to the previous animated movie I've reviewed, so that counts for something. But I just find it odd that with certain screenshots of the movie, you just see her crotch. Like really, so like a lot of the scenes that she's in, where the other characters are talking, like her lower part of the body was specifically just framed in such a way you can notice that part of the body. What's the fun kind of like? Okay, I mean, you could make her graceful. Sure, I have nothing against that, and of course, there was that. I mean, I'm not against the whole idea of having a character looking attractive because I do believe you could make the character be attractive and be womanly at the same time. Yes, that is possible. Have a sense of elegance. I mean, ooh la la. She's pretty. I'm fine with that. Okay, just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to be like one of these sexist, uptight wads that will complain about anything that just remotely sexual. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to do. It can't, like I said in my previous video, it can be there. Okay, I'm not saying it shouldn't, but allow it to actually amount to something rather just being trying to sneak it into the scenes just for the sake of doing it. I guess you can say, which is ridiculous if you ask me, because it just seems weird in that regard. Okay, here's an example of what I'm talking about. And it's that you look at Perfect Blue, which is one of the best animated films out there. It's like a horror thriller, psychological kind of a thing, where the main character she wants to change careers because she realizes the whole pop idol thing it can only go for so long, which is true. That's like it's like a boy band, girl band kind of a thing. It can only go for so long, but you can sense that she has trying to have this everyday life, normal life kind of a thing too. But everything goes haywire because of the fact there's an obsessed fan. Therefore, things get more violent, of course. So yeah, it gets really gruesome in its own little way. I mean, wow, okay. But yeah, her life goes tipsy turvy and whatnot. So yeah, it gets pretty gruesome. And yes, of course, there's even some also some sexy bits as well, which does help to develop the story forward, I guess you can say. And yes, some of her former coach stars, when it comes to singing, talk bad about her, like some women would do in real life, catty and everything. So again, I must reiterate, yes, of course, you can have this kind of thing in there. I mean, I don't say why not. Sure, I mean that's fine. But I'm just trying to say is that again, like I just said a moment ago, don't be just trying to sneak it in there. Just do it. Like this movie's trying to do. Just nothing but more than fan service, and that's it. Come on, give me a break. And yeah, that's the thing, folks. And yes, to be perfectly clear as well, folks, I want to explain this too, so nobody would get the wrong idea as well. And it's that the fact that if you're one of those individuals that do like masculine looking women, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. More power to you. If this is your thing, then that's your thing. I know there's an audience for this kind of this type of women, and that's fine. So if you're one of these people that find these kinds of women attractive, sure, whatever. You can have that be a part of the story somehow. So I don't know, good for you. Why not? So you could have added that to the story somehow. Really? Maybe she could have been Chung Li could have been like a model. That's also a bodybuilder as well. So if anything, it seems like a waste of potential of what they could have had done throughout the entire thing. Really, rather than have some bland storytelling that felt like there's no real focus. Not really. Just like they were throwing in a bunch of random stuff throughout the entire thing. The voice acting is okay, I guess. The voice acting is alright. As far as dubbing goes, I suppose. So there's that. But ultimately, what I'm trying to get at, it just feels like it could have been a whole lot more than what was ultimately delivered, really.
Try to relax your anus, your shoulders.
That's what you get. Anyway, it just failed in a lot of ways. Like, for example, there's no real direction, really. And what was the purpose of this? I have no idea. It just seems like also the fight scenes themselves, they lacked tension. There was no real sense of suspense either. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, that just makes these fight scenes feel extremely hollow, as though they don't mean anything. I mean, yes, like I said earlier, they are very well animated, sure, but it's just that the overall narrative didn't really do justice. So I'll give this an overall rating of a 4.9 out of 10. It's a 4.9 out of 10. So, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh, yeah, later. And don't mind me because I'm again going to Wendy's. Oh boy. I better hit the gym at this point. So, see ya.